Welcome to another episode of Touring the AFC South. I am your host, Mike Patton, and on this episode, we will be talking about the wonderful world that is the AFC South. And now the AFC South is kind of cooking, y'all. It's kind of cooking. You got you've got the Houston Texans that are doing their thing. They won some games in a row. We're going to talk about them. You've got the Jacksonville Jaguars playing some good football. And you do have some amazing players in this division doing some amazing things. We're going to get into that more on this episode 370 of Touring the AFC South. But before we get into all of that, I do have a few things I want to get off my chest and that are very interesting to me. One of those things is the NBA Cup. I know a lot of you all didn't tune in to talk about the NBA, but hey, I was watching it. I'd stayed up to watch the Knicks and the Spurs out there in Vegas. And hey, it was a pretty good game, interesting game. The guys were playing hard. And hey, the Knicks won. The Knicks did say they're not putting the banner up, though. So, hey, sorry, they're not going to do it, Knicks fans. They want the other banner. But anyway, it was an interesting game. It was a competitive game. And, I actually tuned in. I did not think I was going to watch it. But hey, I tuned in there. I stuck, it was a good game. It actually was a good game. The tournament, some can say whether they like it or don't like it, but what you can say is the players do play hard. And, dangling money, additional money, has turned out to be a good thing for them. Okay, now I'm going to actually flip on over to one other thing that I want to talk about too, and it is in the NFL, and that is Mr. Tua down in Miami has been sent to the bench. Miami Dolphins head coach Mike Patton decided that he is going to go with rookie Quinn Ewers out of the University of Texas as a starting quarterback. Zach Wilson will be the backup, former New York Jets quarterback and first-round pick, and Tua will now be third string. Now, that is something I did not expect to see, and I expected him maybe to bench him when he kind of hinted at it on Monday. But to be a third string, not even really playing, it's a tough one. That's a real tough one. But, let's be honest. Tua hasn't quite been, as sharp this season. He's had other points in his career where he's been pretty sharp under Mike Patton, but unfortunately, he has not been as sharp this season, and it has hurt this Miami Dolphins team. Throwing interceptions or just not being on top of his game. He is a guy that needs timing to be at his best. He's not a guy that has a really, really strong arm. Unfortunately, that's just part of his game. And because of that, he hasn't hit a lot of his targets when he's needed to hit a lot of his targets. And he doesn't have an arm to drill it in there either. So, the combination of not a strong arm, not solid decision-making, and the Dolphins not winning has led to him being put on the bench. And I will tell you that if they decide to release him, it would be a $99 million cap hit. $99 million. Man, that sounds like lottery winning numbers. But hey, either way it goes, yeah, it would be a huge hit. And then if they, cut him post June 1st, it would be a $64 or $66 million cap hit. Yikes. Decisions. The Dolphins, they have them. Had to get those things off my chest. It was very interesting just to see those couple things talked about on today in the news cycle. Of course, there's plenty of other things talked about. And one of those things that a lot of people are talking about is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not going to say they're doing better than a lot of people thought they would do. And another person doing a lot better than they thought he would do is Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is definitely ascending right now. In his last 3 games, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. 1 rushing touchdown. He had 5 5 touchdowns passing last game versus the New York Jets. I know it's the Jets, y'all. You ain't gotta tell me, I know. And he had 1 rushing touchdown. And a lot of people will talk about the ebbs and flows of his game. Throughout his entire career, he has had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The biggest version of that, take a look at when they made the playoffs 1 year with Trevor Lawrence, with, of course, Doug Peterson being his coach. They were down big early to the Los Angeles Chargers, like 27-0. They came all the way back and won that game. In the first half of that game, they could not. I mean, I don't know what was going on. They just could not find the end zone or move the football very well. And then all of a sudden, some things happened, and boom, 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 boom. They were back in that game. So, there's a lot of things going on with that one. And, definitely. But getting back to the real reason I brought up Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a guy that a lot of people have criticized over his career and how he's played and how he is, has ups and downs. And, there's been some people that said that people make excuses for him, the receivers dropping the football and all those different things as well. However, ultimately that's on Trevor Lawrence in terms of, making the plays to win the game. Ultimately, he has not done that a lot in his career. And, for a guy that everyone thought was going to be a superstar quarterback, he has not been that superstar quarterback that everyone thought he has. But, of course, we are entering year 5 or year 6 of his career. And although it wasn't quite all the way clicking early in the season, it does kind of look like those wheels are turning, and Liam Cohen is finally getting the quarterback play that he wants from Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the guy's rolling out and making plays on the run. He's running with the football. I mean, he is a big guy. He's like 6'5", but he can run. He does have some wheels, y'all. And he's doing a lot of different things that Liam Cohen has asked of him and gotten better at them as the season has went on. So I have to say that, it's definitely been an interesting thing to watch, and watching him develop in this offense under Liam Cohen. And ultimately, of course, with Jacoby Myers coming over from the Las Vegas Raiders, he has filled the number 1 wide receiver spot, and Brian Thomas Jr. has fell down to the number 2 spot, which, that is helping as well. So combination of things, as well as, the play of Trevor Lawrence, and you got to commend him for that, because as many times as we knock him down for his play, you got to lift him up for when he has played well also. So, they do have a test this week, though. So a lot of people are still kind of iffy on the Jaguars. Are they for real? They're 10-4, but are they really for real? Well, they do play the Denver Broncos in Mile High this weekend. Now, am I predicting a win or a loss? I'm not doing any of that. But what I will say is that Denver defense is for real. They have the most sacks in the NFL. So if they're able to make some things happen, Jacksonville, that is, against this defense, then you have to really start believing that Jacksonville could be a better team than what you think. That's something to watch and something to think on. Yeah, definitely wasn't something that a lot of people expected to start this season. But what I do remember saying to start this season is that if Jacksonville, with their talent, was able to kind of put it together, then they could potentially win this division. And lo and behold, where are they in position to do now? They are in position to win this division. The team they're trying to hold off, that would be the Houston Texans. We're going to talk about the Houston Texans, but first we're going to take a quick commercial break on Touring the AFC South with your host, Mike Patton.
EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash are two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off of these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get these the EBO beard butter and EBO beard wash.
All right, we're back on Touring the AFC South. And like I mentioned before the commercial break, we're going to talk about the team that is chasing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that is the Houston Texans. And they're definitely on a roll right now. Now, they've won 6 in a row, and of course, their defense has only allowed 20 or more points, 20 points or less, in the last 5 games against the Buffalo Bills, the Indianapolis Colts, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I know the Arizona Cardinals did get 20 points, but I mean, essentially the Texans handled business and came out smoking on offense and defense in that game. And of course, the Bills, Josh Allen, need I say more? They had the Indianapolis Colts. Of course, they did have Daniel Jones that was kind of still limping around, so that. But and they also had Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Now I know people will say, "Oh, they were playing against some injured quarterbacks and not so good good offenses." But this defense is for real. If you look at the front, they've got Will Anderson on one side, they've got Daniil Hunter on the other. I mean, that's pressure. And then you've got in the middle of that defense, you did have Mario Edwards Jr. Unfortunately, he did get hurt. He'll be out for the rest of the season. I think it's a pectoral tear, but he's out for the rest of the season. Then you have Danico Autry in the middle of that defense as well, and he's a guy that's very versatile, can rush the passer, stop the run, and help that defense. Also, linebacker core, you got Azeez Al-Shire, Henry To'oTo'o there, and you also have in the secondary, which I think are the rock stars of this defense. You've got Derek Stingley Jr., one of the best corners in the NFL, and you have Lassiter on the other side, Kamari Lassiter on the opposite side. Both of these corners are really, really good, and they do like to mix it up, whether it be stopping the run or getting physical in the passing game with receivers. And their safeties, yeah, they got that too. This defense is built. I tell you, yes, they have some football players on this defense, and I got to commend them for putting what D'Amico Ryans and this organization has put together. Offensively, now, of course, they've had their struggles offensively, but they seem to be kind of turning things around just a little bit. I mean, they put up 40-some-odd points against the Cardinals pretty recently, and I can't say the Cardinals were a terrible defense. Cardinals terrible defense, most of the season. They were pretty good to start the season. So, hey, they can't help it that things didn't quite work out. But, the point I'm saying here is the Texans are definitely figuring a few things out offensively and looking better as the weeks go on. I'm not saying they're going to be scoring 30 points a game, folks. So, pump your brakes on that one. But I am saying that they are looking a little better offensively. Now, this team, just being that they're led by their defense and how incredible this defense can be, I did think about one thing. I thought about the 2000 Ravens. Now, 2000 Ravens, plenty of people will know, they had Ray Lewis in the middle of that defense. They also had, a few veterans, Tony Saragusa as well. But this defense ultimately was really, really, really good. They didn't even let teams score, 2 touchdowns worth of points. Yes, this is true. Look it up. And offensively, they had Trent Dilfer, and they had Jamal Lewis, and they had Shannon Sharp at tight end. And, it's really all you can really name offensively what they had in terms of skill position players. They weren't extremely great on offense, but they found ways to win games. Their defense was just that great, and the offense just had to just do a little bit, and they make it happen. Now, I bring this 2000 Ravens defense up because I want to talk about this 2025 Houston Texans defense. Now, I'm not saying the Houston Texans defense is the Baltimore Ravens 2000 defense. What I am saying is comparable is they do have different levels in terms of their offense. There are different levels of playmakers, let's say, and they're different on different levels, whether it be the defensive line, whether it be the linebackers, whether it be the secondary. They do have playmakers in all of those positions. And defensively, they're good enough they can win ball games, which is what the 2000 Ravens were good enough to do too. So with that being said, I think their defense is good enough to lead them not only to the AFC championship, but potentially to the Super Bowl. Yes, you heard it here first. That is exactly what I said. I said this Houston Texans defense is good enough to lead this Houston Texans team to the Super Bowl. Yes. Just look around in the AFC and tell me what team really, really scares you. Now, I know some people will say the New England Patriots, but look at what happened to them last week. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. You know what happened. So, if it's very possible that the Houston Texans started 0-3, by the way, could be a team to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, especially with this defense. Now, of course, they do have the Raiders this week. Got to go out there and handle business. It's NFL. Anything can happen any given Sunday. So they go out and handle business. We'll see what happens. And hopefully for Texans and Texans fans, they go out there and get their 7th straight win and stay hot on their march to the playoffs. Now, we're going to switch over to another team that was hot, but now they're not. And that would be the Colts. And of course, they had a new quarterback starting, and his name was Philip Rivers. He's a 44-year-old quarterback that played for them 5 years ago, back in 2020. Now, you're probably wondering, what was he doing during that 5 years? He retired. He was a high school football coach. He did not have any cleats. He had to go get some break them out of a plaque or wherever he had them at to put them on the play, which is crazy to me. But yes, being that Daniel Jones is out for the season, being that Daniel Jones is out for the season, being that they had a backup quarterback that was injured as well in terms of Riley. I can't remember his last name right now. But anyway, they basically called Philip Rivers. He came, did a workout, and he signed with the team. Now, he did start up practice squad, then got brought to the regular roster. Unfortunately, Riley Leonard is the quarterback, from Notre Dame. That was the guy that stepped in with Daniel Jones, tore his Achilles versus Jacksonville. And then, of course, mentioning Richardson. Let's mention Richardson as well. Richardson actually broke his eye socket. I know plenty of people are wondering where he is. He broke his eye socket working out with some stretch rubber bands. I guess them rubber bands don't play because they smacked his eye. And, that hurts. Those things hurt. But anyway, he was out with, an orbital injury. I believe he got cleared now, but they're still going forward with Philip Rivers being the guy for them. Now, in this game, just taking a look at it, just for Philip Rivers, his first game back, definitely had some rust. He was 18-27, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Now, I will say the one thing that he has for going for himself is he can actually direct this offense, because he knows this offense, because guess what? He teaches this offense to his high school team. So he knows the ins and outs of this offense better than a lot of people. So with that being said, of course, he was able to point out different things, different positions linebackers were in, and adjust players, which was a great thing, especially when he found Josh Downs on basically coming across the middle of the field, wide open. All he had to do was hit him in stride. He did that, touchdown. Didn't have to put a lot on it, which that's a great thing for Philip Rivers and what all, he can do basically as a 44-year-old quarterback that basically when he played, he didn't have a ton of zip on the football. So you can only imagine what he has on the football after 5 years of being out of the NFL, which leads me to my next point. He, he definitely doesn't have the zip on the football. And that was very prevalent or very presently shown, I should say, when they were trying to come back and win the game down 18-16. He throws a pass and it just looked like it kind of fluttered out there. And the Seattle Seahawks intercepted it. And it was ball game. With that being said, it's going to be a testament of brains versus brawn when it comes to Philip Rivers, because he has the brains to figure out this offense, but does he have the brawn or the strength in his arm to execute what he's seeing? That's going to be the main thing to watch, in my opinion. And of course, we have another chance to see that when the Colts take on the San Francisco 49ers this Sunday. I'm sorry, this Monday on Monday Night Football for the whole world to see. And Mr. Robert Saleh, I'm pretty sure, has been looking at the film to see what things he can point out for, his defense for Philip Rivers. This 49ers defense, I will say, has not been great, because of course, they have had a ton of injuries, notably Nick Bosa and Fred Warner out for the season with injuries. Bosa ACL and Warner a broken ankle. So, they do have a lot of injuries there, but they're one of the top 10 scoring defenses in the NFL. So that's something to keep in mind. Even though they're not big in terms of the numbers, they still do not allow you in the end zone. So that's something to think on, and it's going to be something interesting to watch come this Monday night when the Colts take on the San Francisco 49ers in Indianapolis as well. All right, we're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans and one specific player that is having an outstanding season. Who that is, you'll find out after the break on Touring the AFC South.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
All right, and thank you all for staying tuned in. Of course, like I mentioned before the commercial break, we're going to talk a little bit of Tennessee Titans. Now, I will say the season has not been great for the Tennessee Titans in terms of their record. They are at the bottom of the AFC South. However, it has been an incredible season for Mr. Jeffery Simmons. Now, before the season, like I mentioned, I wrote about this in Sporting News, by the way. You can support me over there by going to the Sporting News. Look up Mike Patton. I got plenty of articles there. But getting back to what I wrote about, Jeffery Simmons before the season, there was kind of some talk of leadership and just what kind of shape he would be in, things like that, because he actually did not come to the offseason things that were voluntary, by the way. So he wasn't expected, or he didn't have to be there, but some people expected him to be there. But he wasn't. He was training back home, getting his body prepared for this season. And of course, when it was mandatory, he did show up. He was here. He showed up in some of the best shape of his life, dropped like 15, 20 pounds. I mean, he looked like he was good to go. And he has shown that he was good to go as well. He's only played 12 games. I will say he has missed some games due to hamstring issue that he had, but he has 9 sacks, which, is huge for an interior off defensive lineman. And he has 14 tackles for loss. He has been a disruptor on that defensive line. Every team knows he's there. They double team him every game, yet he has 9 sacks. He's always a factor on every play, essentially. And he has a motor that just will not stop. Now, if he continues on this pace, he's going to set a career high for sacks in a season and getting double-digit sacks. Now, before the season, I did say he would have 10 or more sacks, and it's looking like my prediction is going to be on the money because or it might be less, honestly. I probably should have said 12, but Jeffery Simmons is playing at an elite level. I know the team has not played well overall, but he is playing on an elite level that is very deserved of him to be named a all-pro first team. Yes, I know the record of the team, but if you watch his play, he is very deserving of first team all defense, all pro, I'm sorry, honors. For sure, he is. And he has played like his hair is on fire in the entire season. And he has definitely been a leader. He has said the things that need to be said. He has, definitely been trying to push this team. Unfortunately, it hasn't all worked out, but he has done his thing and pushed this team the entire season. I commend him for the great, wonderful things that he's done, not only with this team on the field and pushing himself, but the things he has done in the community and always being present in the community as well. If you don't know anything about that, hey, go check out the Titans page. Go check on Instagram. Go check out Jeffery Simmons's page on Instagram. A lot of different things. Or check out Teron Davenport's page on the event he was at last weekend that Jeffery Simmons did, giving basically a shopping spree to kids from Boys and Girls Club. Awesome thing. So, getting back to the game, of course, the Titans do take on the Chiefs and host the Chiefs this Sunday. Unfortunately, Patrick Mahomes will not be playing. He is out for the season with a torn ACL, which yikes. Him and Micah Parsons out for the season with torn ACLs. Man, you hate to see it with some of the best players in the NFL, but hey, injuries do happen, but it does not mean the game unfortunately stops. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to get the double-digit sacks because, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs have had line issues and do have injuries up front as well. But that's something to watch. I definitely think he's going to be a terror up front for the Tennessee Titans against the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, we have reached the end of the show. I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Touring the AFC South. I am your host, Mike Patton. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Mike Patton 82. That's MikePatton 82 on the artist formerly known as Twitter. And you can find me on Blue Sky as well. Also, go to Instagram and Threads. You can find me there at that's THA, not THE, _general_NP. And of course, Touring the AFC South, you can find on all listening platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you name it, we are there. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning into this episode of Touring the AFC South. We did have a few comments, by the way, before we get out of here. Let's see. We had one comment from Top Tier 8782 saying, I see this team improving with another draft and free agency class. They can have nice growth next season. I agree. It's always possible. And then plus, they do have $100 million to spend. That's another thing to think on too. All right. I just want to thank you all for tuning in. And I had another comment as well. Jeff is at the top of the game. His game, extend him. Hey, you never know. That may be something that happens this offseason. You got to stay tuned in to see. But hey, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Touring the AFC South. I am your host, Mike Patton. We're out. Peace.